What's going on? It's Ryan with Unplugged Unmuted, my podcast. Episode 2. I don't know how I'm gonna do these yet. I don't have a scheduling down yet, but this week I'm talking with Artifas. They're a new metal band from Memphis, Tennessee. I got to see them a couple years ago, and I bought their album at the time because I'm like, they're just a good band. But I'll let you guys get to know them a little bit in the interview, but we talk about kind of how they got together and kind of how they're doing now and just their new album, Reflections. It's a really good album. If you like new metal, kind of like, I don't know, similar to kind of like Slipknot, Linkin Park, Korn, kind of, yeah. I would say those are some good ones to compare them to. Big names that would at least correlate to them a little bit. But before we go into the interview, I want to show you 2 clips. One is going to be their song, Leave Me for Dead. That's another one they're trying to push right now. It's just disgusting. Great song. And then my personal favorite from their first album, Inhuman, is the song called Clover. So enjoy, guys, and stay tuned for more. Hope you guys enjoy this one. I had a lot of fun making it. Thank you. Welcome to Unplugged Unmuted. We have Scottie Somerville and Cody Criswell from Artifas today. They are from Memphis, Tennessee, correct?
Well, close around. We're closer to Jackson, but we used to always say Memphis because we're from a lot of like small towns in West Tennessee. So like nobody ever knows, when we're like McKenzie, Martin,
Now we never play in Memphis anymore, so we're definitely more of like a Jackson band, I guess.
Yeah, so we tend to claim Jackson as home more so these days.
Oh, I gotcha. Nice. Well, I guess does it feel good being out of your hometown, or Memphis, should I say?
Man, really. Memphis used to have a really strong scene, and it kind of ebb and flows now. There's a couple spots still doing some dope shows up there, but Jackson always had a great scene too. Like Cody and I both pretty much came up in the Jackson music scene, and we've seen it at the top. We've seen it fall down and come back, but Jackson always just has a good steady slew of rock fans to play for. So we're really happy and proud to be one of the Jackson bands that people like to come see.
Oh yeah, you guys, I remember seeing you guys in 2016 at the Rascals, and I was listening to one of your guys' other interviews, podcasts, whatever, and it was the one where it was like, this is your guys' last time playing here, so I think that might have been like a Memphis show or something.
Oh, that was at Clarksville.
Yeah, it was the Warehouse or something. And
yeah,
I remember you guys saying, "Oh yeah, we really try and exhaust the crowd and everything." And honestly, you guys, even for an opening band for the Zealots at the Rascals, I mean, just looking at you at the end of the show, it's like you just got like, you look like one of those football coaches that had the Gatorade dumped on, just for how much heart and effort you guys put in to your guys' show. It's awesome. I mean, I remember I went to that show because I think I was like 15 or 16. I had my dad take me because I'm like, I want to see the Zealots, and you guys just. I guess here we are. You guys did good enough for me to buy a CD. Still have it and jam it to this day.
I bet Scottie would totally be down with somebody dumping a cooler full of ice something on him after a show.
Oh man, that would probably be pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you guys get a touring
van. I'm going to start getting an ice bath.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Get a touring van and just make an ice bath in there for after the
I've wanted to try that. I just don't know if I can handle it though. I know it's like a thing that
it's not that
there's
bad.
There's a lot of like health pluses too. Have you done it where you like dunk your whole self?
I used to do it when I played football. I had like a groin injury in high school, and instead of practicing after school for about 6 weeks, I had to do one of those every day. It's really
you do your
not
whole
that
body?
bad. Yeah.
How long would you do it for?
I don't remember. Probably like
4 or 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, not too long, like 5 or 10 minutes.
I mean, I heard it's like really good for you, but
yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty refreshing, actually.
Oh, I bet it after running and doing it. Well, I remember at my high school we had these like this hill right next to the football field, so they'd have to run up and down the hills. And no, it was like at least a 45-degree incline too. I can't imagine football workouts, man. It's like I was a swimmer, so different difficulty, the same difficulty, but it's different workouts, right? But
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so
like swimming and being in the water and swimming is
yeah.
like a more strenuous workout than lifting weights a lot of the times. From what
yeah, because you're using all your muscles if you're doing actual swimming, but then you can isolate muscles like your legs and arms and all that stuff too. But yeah. So let's get into how you guys met. How did you and Cody meet? So you guys are the two original members.
All right, so I put together this show, like in a small town where actually Cody still lives. Not too small. It's a college town called Martin, Tennessee. Yeah, it's pretty small. But there were a couple music venues there for a while, but like a lot of places, there weren't any venues left to play, and I wanted to throw like a big show. There's a lot of musical talent in the West Tennessee area, just in general. There's been a lot of great artists and musicians that have just come around. There's always a slew of good musicians, and
Right.
So I put on a show called Parking Lot of Palooza and booked like 20 something bands / acts, solo acts, whatever. And we had like an inside coffee shop and then an outside parking lot show. And somehow I had booked Cody's band, I guess through his dad or something at the time. I'd never met any of them, but I guess I talked to him on the phone. And so we're there early setting up that day. My band was playing at the end of the night. And I met Cody's dad, and he's like, "Hey, my son's band's playing in this coffee shop." And
I was
it's
15,
like,
by the way, at this
Oh
time.
wow.
yeah, he was 15. He's like, "You got to go catch him." So I did, and I walked in and see Cody. He's 15. His brother's 9, playing drums, and I'm just like, and they're good, and they were good, like especially for some kids, like they were better than a lot of the adult bands that were playing, at that event. And I just got talking with Cody's dad a lot, and started going over, and me and Cody from then on out were just like music brothers, and we were always like writing together and bouncing ideas off of each other and learning new things together. And we just kind of came up in that I guess we came up in the scene together but separate, and then we joined forces and started Artifas.
That's awesome. So when you booked Cody and his brother's band that they were in, how old were you at that time?
18.
18, so 3 years older than Cody, and however many for his brother. 9 for
You would have been a little older than that. If I was 15,
so. I might have been 19.
Well, I don't. How many years older than me? You just do the math. That'll tell you.
6. Right.
So, something like that. Yeah.
6. So you would have been 21.
My strong suit.
So maybe I was 21.
That's
Sometimes
crazy.
You were definitely of legal drinking age.
Yeah, a lot of partying happened in that era, and a lot of things just kind of get crossed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I don't blame you at all. So how did I can't remember band member names at all, but how did you guys meet the other guys then?
What?
Go
ahead,
like
Cody.
A series, of events really. The original lineup featured myself, Scotty, and 3 other guys. And through the rigors of life, they decided that they didn't want to be in it anymore.
Right.
And I guess through efforts of replacing them, we found Anthony. We actually knew Anthony. He was kind of like us. He's a local guy from around here, and he had been in a lot of bands that we had played shows with here and there, and we'd always hang out with him and whatnot.
Me and Cody and Anthony's old bands have literally played countless shows together, but all of us in different bands in the past.
Probably 3 of the, except for like Roses Unread, probably 3 of the busiest bands in the local area. And so we all knew each other, and we actually asked Anthony to be a guitar player first, and he was in another band, and he didn't want to take on another project. So we found Mikey. He came to us and auditioned via the internet. And then Anthony ended up coming back later to fill the bass player slot.
Nice.
And then Steve is our newest addition. We actually just found him through some friends of ours from Ohio called the Lonely Ones. And when our other drummer decided he wanted to leave, they called us up and they were like, "You gotta check out this guy. He's from our hometown, and he's cut out for it." So
yeah,
they were right.
Yeah, no, I was listening to the other interview you guys had at the warehouse, or you guys were Clarksville, and he was just sending you guys videos like, hey, try out this, whatever. And he was sending you guys videos. You're like, hey, come on out. Right. And then,
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy process.
yeah.
I like to tell this, I don't know how this makes him feel. I feel like he's okay with it, but I like to tell this because it adds to the genuine nature of the story. But we actually turned Steve down the first time, and had picked someone else, and he kept just sticking with it and emailing us and sending in audition tapes and really just kind of like bugging us and hassling us about the job.
The whole time he was just like in the back of all of our heads, and the second that the other guy, decided to do something different, we were just like, yo, we got to call Steve back. That guy wants it, you know?
You got to get someone that wants it.
Man, that's the most important thing,
It really is.
And so I called him up and I was like, hey, man, I was wanting to see if you were still interested. He's like, just let me know when. He was like, I'm there, like without hesitation. And I was just like, all right, this is the guy.
It was weird. We kind of felt bad, but at the same time, I was like, hey.
Things have a weird way of working out. Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys just had your resume game tour. I like that little spin-off title you did with COVID, because I was listening to, like I said, the last interview, that you had to pause your last tour because of COVID. Everything was cracking down with restrictions and all of that. So how did that go? I know you guys were supposed to come through Moline on the 7th of July. That's actually a day after my birthday.
Wow.
We're coming through there in October 23rd, I think. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's not actually what the Resume Game Tour was. Even
really? I was like, it has. As you said that, I was like, it works in that context as well.
That's why I thought it. Yeah.
It was actually kind of just like we had just dealt with our other drummer leaving and dealing with replacing him, and I guess for a lot of people, maybe when we made the announcement that, or even really for us, when our other drummer told us that he wasn't going to be a part of it anymore, we were kind of like, oh. We're gonna have to pause, maybe even stop, doing this. And when we got a new drummer and started booking some more shows, it was just kind of like our little subtle throw out to everybody. We ain't stopping. That was just a temporary break.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love seeing a band be able to get back on its feet, because it's like one of my favorite bands this year, Sleepwaker. They had a falling out, and sadly they broke up. Well, you guys, you reprimanded and you're back on the road. That's awesome.
Honestly, we put ourselves in positions like this is who we are at this point. And like, I mean, we've hit probably every speed bump, roadblock, and ran into every wall on our journey, and like nothing stopped us yet. And it's like, there's been many times, and I'm sure Cody can attest to this, that we thought it was coming to an end, and somehow, we just find a way to keep pushing through, and we just have a lot of faith, and we believe in our music, and we believe in the product we make.
Well, it's like you said, I mean, we've put ourselves in positions, we've built our lives around this, and even though it hasn't blown up to the fruition at which we would like it to just yet, it's still our jobs and what we do, and we've got all this gear and merch and all this time and these fans, and just, I guess, expectations really is the word. There's a ton of expectations around it. So at the end of the day, you kind of just got to find a way to put your boots on, strap them up, and get back to walking.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, absolutely. And that kind of reminds me of like your guys' mindset about it's like, sure, you guys haven't blown up yet, but it's like you guys still make really good music. And personally, one of my favorite guitarists of all time, Mick Mars from Motley Crue, he says, I don't need a Grammy or any music awards to know my stuff's good. I know my music is good when we leave that studio. That's really what matters.
That's it, man. Yeah, like, obviously to anybody, I think a Grammy would be dope,
Oh, right.
But like, that's not even on my, like, I don't even really have that in my head a lot. I just want to be able to do this and have a, stable career, and people dig our music,
I've kind of deduced it really just to two goals. My first goal is I just want to be able to play music, with this band, or I guess just in general, play music, for a living and perform. But the second part of that goal ties me into this band. And that's when I'm performing, I want to be able to perform music that I enjoy and that I'm happy with. Absolutely. And, that's where my participation in this band comes to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But on an outsider's view in, I play guitar a little bit, but I'm not in a band like you guys. But on an outsider's view in, how I look at it as you made it in the music industry is if you can play music and pay your bills or find a way to live with it.
Sure.
The definition of success has definitely changed, in the last 20 or 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so if that's where you guys are, I don't need to know what you guys make from your shows or anything, but if you guys made it or when you do, that's awesome. I'm rooting for you guys all the way.
It's a slow, steady growth, man, but progress is progress, and I guess that's all that matters.
It is. No, you guys really do push your social media game. I mean, you guys are really after the social media, like, hey, reach out to your guys' local radio, have them play this, have them play that. You guys are really
we try. Our support system is, they allow us to do it. They're the bread and the butter, the gasoline that runs through the whole thing. So we try to keep them involved and, use them to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, well,
our fans are like a full-on. They're like armed and ready to go. We're just like, hey, can you guys help us out with this? And they're like, done.
It's like you guys have like a little bot networking for you of just fans. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
It seems like it sometimes, but we're thankful.
Oh, it's awesome. That's really your family, though, man. That's awesome. So I actually did listen to your guys' entire discography at work today, just kind of recap on some stuff. And honestly, so the last band I had on last week, Saints Can Lie from Texas, they're a metalcore band, whatever. But their first publishing that was public was a whole album, like a full album, not an EP. It was an LP.
Right.
So at first, I didn't even know you guys had an EP until this week. I didn't look back that far in the discography. I just thought you started with Inhuman. And honestly, I was like, wow, Inhuman was, if that was what you guys started with, that would bam, right on the dime.
Yeah, no doubt.
But no, even the EP's awesome. Like, I was listening to Suffocate. I'm like, holy cow, man.
It's really weird. It didn't, ever really take shape in my mind this way until the last year or two. I think maybe Scotty might have said it or something. But like the EP phase of the band, basically the first 5 years of the band's existence, Inhuman for me is kind of where our true push, at commercial music and like marketing and like making a name for ourselves, it's where that began. So it's really interesting when people go back and listen to Enemy Inside and look up stuff around that era, because to me that was kind of like the training wheels years of the band.
Yeah, we actually had a volume 2 that we had ready to put out. There was going to be the second half of Enemy Inside EP, and by the time we got ready to do that, we'd already grown so much and wrote these new songs, so we just put out Inhuman instead. And some of the songs actually from that second EP, correct me if I'm wrong, ended up on Inhuman. Just redo.
And Clover, both.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Clover. That's my favorite by you guys.
Yeah, so Clover was written with the original first batch of songs.
That was actually like the third or maybe fourth song that the band ever wrote. We had Crawl was first, Hold On Me was second, and then I want to say Clover might have been the next song.
Clover Broken Wings.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So do you guys still play Clover? Is that on the Resume Game Tour set list?
We didn't play it on this last tour, but
it's been a while.
Man,
we're
getting to the point now where we've got
we're
getting to the point now where we've got enough of a discography we can afford to pick and choose. But for years, Clover was, one of it got played every night for probably the first 7 to 8 years of our life as a band.
Right, yeah, it's like you don't want to burn yourself on a good song either.
I don't think it's really that. I think we love, the songs. It's just a matter of changing it up, trying to keep people interested, and really it's just kind of fun as musicians sometimes to kind of throw yourself for a loop and learn some new stuff. It's not new, but relearn it, I guess.
It's so hard to pick now what to play live, because it's like, here's all your babies. Which ones are you going to leave at home, and which ones are you going to take on tour?
It's good to have options, though. I like that a lot better than only having one album's worth of discography to play from.
Yeah,
that's a good point, because it's like if you only had your Enemy Inside or whatever the EP was called, then it's like that's all you're really working with.
For 5 years, we toured on that and only played that stuff. So it was nice when we started getting some new music in.
What's the oldest song you guys play now, or had in the Resume Game Tour?
Hold On Me.
Hold On Me.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
not in its published form, but
publishing wise, Suffocate.
Yeah, because that was the only one from Enemy Inside on that set list.
Yeah. So Hold on Me, it was written before Suffocate, but Suffocate was on Enemy Inside, and Hold on Me was on
Gotcha.
EP.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, yeah, you guys killed the EP, man. I was like, wow. Like, really, for, I don't know if that was everyone's first time being on a published album or publishing something in general, but who mixed and mastered it?
Blake Allison did it all from the singer for Devour the Day and drummer. He's also the drummer for Egypt Central.
Wow, that's a multi-talented person right there.
Yeah.
Mixing and mastering. Man. I would never ever figure out how to mix and master because like I'll like mess with something and then I listen to it the next day. I'm like, no, that's just terrible.
Man, it is an ever learning experience when it comes to mixing and mastering.
Do you guys play around with it? Like with any stuff you personally do?
Oh yeah, like so the whole album's Reflection we self-produced. Or
really?
Did I say the whole album? Yeah, the whole album Reflections we self-produced.
Nice.
Now that album we didn't mix and master. We sent off to Forrester Savell that does 12-Foot Ninja and Carnival and Dead Letter Circus and some of our favorite bands, and he mixed and mastered it. But Cody and I also produce other artists and, country, pop, rock, hip hop. And I do our mixing and mastering for both of our projects. And Cody can tell you, like, it's every time it's tough because like every time I learn something new and then I like that mix is better than the ones before, So like,
right.
It's a good thing because you're always progressing, but the bad thing is you always want to go back and redo everything because you want it all to sound better,
Yeah.
But it's that like the developing story that is your sound engineer career, bro.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that was cool. So speaking of the Resume Game Tour, what was your guys' favorite venue that you played at?
All right, I'm gonna split this one up into two categories.
All right.
I gotta split it up in
venue quality and hospitality. Those are my two. I'm going to go with Cafe Acoustic in St. Joseph for the cooperation/hospitality category. They took a lot of good care of us and fed us and gave us yummy beers to drink.
Nice.
And then venue quality. Hub City's cool. It's always good. It's in our hometown, but I really enjoyed what was the name of that place in Tallahassee? The Warrior on the River. Good sound system, decent sized stage. That was a good one.
Oh yeah.
My favorite show. That's why I don't know if Hub City counts as part of the Resume Game Tour because that was more of just like a home show after the tour. But I mean that's a hard crowd to beat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, crowd Last Jackson's going to take that.
Our hometown crowd just is unreal.
Oh yeah, well it's like playing at if it's like a home game and you're a football team, it's like you always know your crowd's gonna be just exponentially better than if you go anywhere else. That's awesome. And it's cool to know that you always got home to fall back on. If you ever have like a bad tour, it's like just play a home show and we'll get back on.
Yeah, it's always. If there's anything I gotta say,
our community, the whole like Jackson. I would say not the majority of the Jackson community is very supportive of us making it, and that means a lot to us.
What's the furthest someone from Jackson, your hometown, has traveled across the nation to go see you guys?
I don't even,
there's been some really long ones, like people that have drove like 13, 16 hours and stuff like that.
Yeah, I couldn't even really remember.
That's dedication, man. That's awesome. Really, that is awesome.
Or even more so, a lot of people tend to drive from out of state to come to the hometown shows.
That would be cool. That would be neat. Yeah, because you guys said
you should do that sometime, man.
Let me get a state. Well, so I'm going to my last year's cybersecurity engineering at my college, and if I find the remote job, I'll make it happen. How about that?
Sounds like a plan, dude.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. So speaking of shows, though, have you met anyone at your guys' shows that you didn't expect to show up? Like someone you guys look up?
Oh yeah, I can name a list. Ed Sloan, for the singer of Crossfade. We were just chilling on tour one night, and somebody came up to us and they were like, "Yo, Ed Sloan wants to buy your CD." So he went to the ATM and pulled out $200, gave us $200, and all he wanted was a CD. and
That's
he
awesome.
was a super cool guy. That just happened randomly.
We met
One night,
Vinnie Paul twice while we were on
yeah,
stage.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah,
Morgan
Wow.
Rose from Seven Dust. He walked in while we were playing outside of Chicago one night.
that
That's a
led
big
to
one too.
a business deal with him and his label down the road. Yeah, there's been several throughout the years, I guess. You never know who you're just gonna, meet randomly out there.
Yeah, who's been like just the biggest shocking? Like you saw me, like no way, that's not real.
Probably Vinny. Vinny was
Yeah,
definitely a big
Yeah,
one.
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Especially like so the first time he was up in this balcony, like we were playing on stage, and I just look up and he was watching us and like had his phone out, and I was just like, holy shit, Vinnie Paul is taking a picture or video or something. And then we got invited to the after party up in the balcony afterwards. And then the second time was in Vegas and we're playing, and he was on the side of the stage, just like arms crossed and nodding his head. And I was just like, man, this is wild. It was him and Chris
Chris
Adler
Adler, yeah.
from Lamb of God. They were standing next to each other.
Wow.
And so then
Nice.
probably 30 minutes later, I'm walking outside through the crowd. I'm going back into the hotel, or I went into the hotel and I was coming back out because it was at a resort. And Vinny and his crew were like walking up, and I, ran into him, and he was like, stopped his whole posse. And he was just like, hey, man, I enjoyed y'all's set. And I was just like, thanks, dude. That's an honor. And he was like, you got a CD. And I like sprinted to our merch table. It was just like, I need a CD. Somebody give me a CD. Vinny Paul asked for a CD, and like ran him over one. And yeah, I'll never forget that. It was the
Oh
coolest
yeah,
moment.
that's awesome, man. That is awesome. What was the coolest band you guys toured with?
In my
Cool.
opinion, I would say Theory of a Dead Man. I really like those guys a lot, and
Nice.
especially Joe, the drummer. That guy is just an awesome dude on every front. We've hung out with him every night after the shows on that tour. It was like us and Joe just chilling outside,
Dave would be
telling
out there every
stories.
now and
And
then too. He
yeah,
was
Dave
cool.
would be out there some. And
Honestly, I'm gonna go with
so
a
we
Randa.
we've kept in touch with. I've kept in touch with Joe through the years, and he's a good dude.
That's
I'm gonna
awesome.
go with a Randa. Joe and those guys, super cool. Still stay in touch with them, but I don't think I've ever met a band that was just as nice and down to earth as a Randa is. Those guys
Yeah,
are literally like, your cousins in the band world, and they just show up and they're like, hi, cousin, how's it going? How you doing? And they're just
and
some of the nicest dudes.
incredible singers.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
they could probably tower amongst us all with their egos, if it were closely aligned with the amount of talent that those guys possess. But they're not. They're just super chill, down to earth, like dads.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Oh, it's always good to find people like that. It's like, hey, let's go on a tour again or something. That's all.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
have them on the next one.
Well, we'd love to. Those guys know it. We're waiting on them to get back out there and get busy again. We're gonna hound them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Just be that little stalker through the little window shades or something. Like,
No doubt.
what are you guys doing? You guys
Gabe
working on
already
something?
knows. I text
Yeah.
him once every few months and kind of send him some weird emojis, peeking through the windows.
That's awesome. So, I know you guys were talking about you do your mixing and mastering for your own projects. Do you guys have side projects?
Not really.
No, no, we put. I don't think we have time for a side project.
Anytime
No,
I spend
yeah,
working on a side project would just be a distraction from my main
right,
project.
right. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
understandable. Yeah,
We write,
yeah. I think
like
me and Cody's side projects are kind of the same. As we both like helping other bands create their projects as our side project, and usually we're pretty heavily involved in the writing process with those groups.
we write, music separately and whatnot, but it's always usually kind of with the intent that it could get used for Artifice. And I don't think anybody really, makes it a point to release anything if it maybe doesn't get used with Artifice. So I don't really know the point in having a side project. All the
right,
music that I write just sounds like Artifice anyway. So
Right.
right. Well, hey, at least you have a dignified sound. Really, that's what's important, to have your own sound. And
I
no,
definitely think my soul has a sound, and that's what Artifice sounds like.
yeah, no, but I think that's good though. Like people have side projects, and that's fine, just to kind of keep their just so they don't get burnt out. But another idea to have in mind is more time spent putting towards a plan B is less time towards your plan A.
For
You
sure.
know,
No
really.
doubt.
Yeah. All right, sweet. So let's talk about reflections a little bit before we wrap this up. And I know I reached out to you guys about tabs in the past, and all I want to know is what tuning do you guys write in?
Drop C mostly.
Drop C.
There was one departure from that on Inhuman where we used a baritone guitar that was in drop A just to kind of change it up, but mostly drop C.
Nice. I was gonna guess that just because like I've listened so much like Bullet for My Valentine, Kill Switch, stuff like that. So I kind of have like an ear for that. But so Reflections all drop C. Nice. What was the why drop C?
Well, I guess when we first started the band, Drop C, it was really before all the really low detune stuff took on its popularity. Other than bands like Korn and, Meshuggah, there weren't really a ton of bands that were lower than Drop C, but
yeah, a lot of bands were half step down.
Yeah. We felt like that was a good, heavy medium point where we could still achieve the heaviness that we wanted, but retain a lot of the bright musical aspects of the guitars and the instruments and whatnot. And for whatever reason, we just have really grown comfortable with it. We've discussed a lot, changing up the tunings and stuff, and who knows what the future will hold, but it does kind of seem like there's this certain almost commercial quality that drop C retains, that if you were to go too much lower than that, maybe you start genrealizing yourself, a little bit more than you would want to.
Genrealizing.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, because like anyone can sound like a Wage War, I Prevail, or something like that, or Five Finger Death Punch type riffs. But no, I really think Drop C works with Scottie's voice. I really do. Like, it's just once you find a good fit, why shop around for a different fit? You know what I mean?
What's weird though is like the time we dropped down to A, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so much easier. But I ended up singing in the same range, anyways.
What song was Drop A, if you don't mind me asking?
Coming Undone.
Coming Undone. I'll listen to it after this and see if I can audibly hear a difference. I'll give you guys feedback. Yeah, well, I'm sure I will. I'll give you guys feedback on that. But
do it.
Yeah, I will. Because it'd be interesting to just kind of compare the different sound you get out of, just a simple tuning. It's like you guys still write
this. That one was totally different. That actually wasn't even supposed to be on the record. We were just like, let's do like a crazy. I think that song really was heavily inspired by probably the likes of like Nothing More, where like it's very digital but like still rock influenced, but a lot of alternate elements playing. And we were just like, let's just throw the writing process away for this and see where it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went a little wild on that one.
You guys did. It was good. It was a great album. I love it. What was the inspiration for Reflections then?
For Reflections, what?
For the album.
I mean, really, we just wanted to. I think as songwriters, we had a lot of discussion about how we wanted to be more vulnerable and how we wanted to really like dive deeper into, a lot of the stuff that's not easy to talk about and mental health issues and stuff like that. And we really wanted the music to reflect that vibe. And we also didn't want to like nail ourselves down into any, certain thing. I think something that's really cool about Reflections is there's a lot of different stuff going on throughout the record, like a lot of different musical styles, a lot of different approaches to songs, stuff that's heavier, stuff that's lighter. And we just wanted to take the audience on a journey.
Yeah, no, you guys have a lot of different songs. There's like one of my favorite, just because it's like it kind of reminds me of just the style of Beartooth. I'm a huge Beartooth fan, but Wannabe. The breakdown of Wannabe, I freaking love it, dude.
Yeah,
lots of people like that jam.
It's trashy there for a little bit.
It does, but it's like that's the jam, man. That's the bread and butter for me. I listen to that a lot.
Yeah, that was a fun one. That was one where we were like, let's just get outside of that box a little bit.
That was the coming done of the record, really. We like had the record done pretty much, like all the other songs, and we were like, all right, we need one song that like we just don't give a shit about anything. And Wannabe was that. Mikey came in with like this crazy like trotting right-handed guitar riff, that was totally outside of our technique, I guess, that we normally use. And I was like, at first I was like, this is never going to be a song. Like this is just us, goofing off or whatever. And somehow or another, it made its way onto the record. So
no, I think that's one of my favorites on the album. And actually one of my favorite things of the album that a lot of bands don't do now is the intro song. I think Lament is a really great addition because then it just jumps right into Leave Me for Dead. And even a lot of the times I find is on like a streaming service, there seems to be like some cutting out part just for like a millisecond between like the intro song and then what is supposed to be the first song of the album. But no, I've listened to it. I've listened to that gap over and over. It's just a perfect transition.
We spent a lot of time working with Forrester, you know, in the post-production process, working those things out. We had intended originally, I think, Lament
it was
and
written
Leave Me
together.
for Dead. Was it?
It was one session.
Really?
It was originally one session. Like, we wrote Leave Me for Dead, and then I took that whole song one day and moved it all the way over. And that's when we started building the intro into it. And then we decided, you know, let's make that 2 separate tracks. At some point, we decided to make that two separate tracks. I think that was your idea.
Yeah, because like I said, I always think about that Dark New Day record, and like one of my favorite tracks on the entire record is the first track on the record. But in order to get to it, you've got to listen through a minute and a half of, you know, iffy intro, and it's like, all right, let's get to the song. So I just didn't want people to skip the track, you know, because they had to listen through an intro. So I was like, let's just chop it.
Yeah, that I would say. Another band that did a good one recently was Spirit Breaker off their latest album. I don't know if you guys listen to that at all, but
not familiar.
No, I have to check that out.
Yeah, I don't want to look it up right now. I can send it to you guys after this. But no, it's really good. But it's like kind of like your guys. From what I remember off Lament, it's more softer, and then just at the end, it's preparing you. Leave Me for Dead, and Leave Me for Dead. That is one of the nastiest guitar intros of all time. Personally. It just hits so freaking hard for me. Like, that's awesome.
Definitely one of my favorites to play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember when we first started doing that song, we were like, all right, this song is just a bunch of chromatic notes. What key are we doing this in, guys?
Yeah. Whatever key we want, bro.
Whatever you're feeling, man, just play it. No, that's awesome. So what's your guys' favorite song, personally? Just each of you can go off your album.
I couldn't possibly pick one.
All right, how about top 3?
It changes from day to day.
Top 3?
Top 3. We'll go with that.
Leave Me for Dead because it's fun to play and the riff is really cool. Sorry, that's my dog.
Oh, you're good.
Leave Me for Dead for sure. Hollow.
Cut Me Out is my favorite to show people because it's just a lot of flashy instrumentalism and guitar solos and stuff. Definitely not my favorite to play because it's hard.
Oh yeah.
Hired.
And then my third one, maybe Legacy, because I just really enjoy the lyrics of that song, and it just really has a lot of resonance with me lyrically.
Legacy was one of those really weird songs. Like, it was always like, is this? I remember in my head so many times I was like, is this cool? You know, like, it's really funky. It's got this weird guitar riff, almost like video game-esque, you know.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite songs now, you know, like, but I remember for a long time I was just like, this song is cool to me, but is it going to be cool?
That riff is one of my favorite riffs that the band has ever put into a song. And I remember we sat on that riff and tried to find a song for it for probably a year and a half. Like, we were just, jamming the riff, trying to come up with other ideas. And I guess it took a while for it to come together, but when it finally did, it turned into one of my favorites.
For sure.
That's awesome. Don't you love how it plays out?
It's weird. You just never know.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, though. So, what else do you guys want to say about the album? How long did it take you, actually? How long did it writing to publish?
Well, luckily, like, we went through a long process. But once we started on the process, just to us, it was through COVID. So we didn't have to rush, So, like, we rewrote a lot of stuff multiple times, like, we really dissected things.
It's almost like you have to take that whole process through chronological order. It's like phase 1 of the demoing phase at, maybe my house or your house. Phase 2 of like, I guess, the Stephanie Terry sessions,
Yeah.
Actually, no, before that, we were writing in Martin at the vape shop. So then you got to go to the studio with Shane. We recorded with a guy, and maybe we didn't really dig it all that much, so we decided to rework some of the songs, like you said. Then we went and did some co-writes with Morgan, Morgan Rose and Corey Lowry of Seether, and that took a little bit. And then all in all, I would say it took us probably almost 3 years to make the record.
Wow.
A year of that being us in the studio and working on it ourselves, and then probably like 2 years of on and off writing and recording and writing again and recording again.
And honestly, like, it's weird because there was multiple times through the process where there could have been a release.
Yeah.
And
almost
where
was once or
I feel like a lot of bands would have released it, but we're just so particular about our art that we were just like, that's not, it's not us, or that's not it, it's almost there. And that's when we just really took the reins, and we were like, we're going to make this record the way we want to make it, because anytime we go to make it with anybody else, we end up wanting to come back and change it all anyways. So like, let's just do it ourselves.
You asked earlier what the motivation was behind the record, and one of the more resounding themes, especially on the musical side of things, was organic. We wanted everything to be organic.
Absolutely.
The tones, the parts, the production to a certain extent, and that really drove a lot of the decision making, throughout that process.
Yeah, we were going to live or die by our own sword, for sure.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about Reflections, just as kind of like a whole, it's like, I know I started listening to you guys in like 2016, and I like check in like 2017, 2018, 2019, no new material. And I'm like,
we won't do that again.
Yeah, I was like, man, these guys were good. They were awesome live. I'm like, are they done? I was like checking the Facebook page and everything, but it's like, I know you guys have road bumps and stuff. Like you guys.
Yeah, it was just because, like Scotty said, we would get ready to put it out, and either we wouldn't be happy with recording, or something on the business side of things would happen. We were counted by countless labels and management agencies throughout that time where we were trying to negotiate deals, and it was just a very busy time for us, but not so much in the public eye.
Right. So,
sure.
Yeah. So it's like, as a listener of you guys, I was a little worried. I'm like, man, I really hope that I just wanted like at least one more album from you guys. And I think I checked back like late last year. I'm like, let's see what Artifas is up to. And I checked, and I think that's whenever you guys' Reflections album came out, I was like, man, this is awesome. So I gave it a whole listen through.
January
of 2021.
Uh-huh.
No,
2022.
2022.
Yeah, this January of this year.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. But no, what my favorite thing
okay.
is you find a band, they're like, all right, they have an awesome tracking start right now. Don't mess it up. Some bands mess it up. They lose their sound that they had in the first album. You guys didn't, and I want to thank you for that. You guys kept the Artifas sound.
And we're going to keep putting out more material more often, and releasing more songs and more videos and just things for our fans to enjoy. So like that, we're not going to make people wait a long period again. I think one thing now is like I think we have a newfound confidence in our abilities to be able to put out a professional product ourselves. And that's something that now we can really lean on, and we don't have to worry about paying for an album to get made that costs $25,000 or anything like that,
Yeah. I guess maybe that's a good way to explain why the last record took so long, is because we were refining our workflow and, figuring out what we could and couldn't do. And now that we kind of have that system in place, this machine can run, a lot more efficiently.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But another thing is, at least what I like to think about is like quality over quantity is the biggest key factor when you're making art. Really, that's
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, as long as you guys are just like, hey man, we're looking at this time frame. I don't care how long you guys need. Just like the next Elder Scrolls game, I don't care if it takes another 10 years past now. I just want it to be good, man.
Well, we're not going to make people wait another 6 years this time.
No, I don't. No, I believe you. So we'll see when it comes out, and I'm sure it'll be just as good as Reflections and Inhuman. Really, even the EP. I'll say the EP ranks up with Inhuman and Reflections. Honestly, that's just my opinion. You guys might have different, but listening to it today, I thought it was awesome.
I think I enjoy the songs. The hard part for us, I think, as the artists, is to go back. And it's like listening to a not as talented version of yourself.
Right.
Sure.
And you're just like, oh man, I could do that so better now, But I mean, that's also kind of the beauty in it sometimes, is to go, wow, I came a long way.
Yeah. Watch your growth, I guess.
So I guess here's an idea then. Well, maybe we'll about do like a 10-year anniversary, so 2023 next year. Do
Might have to.
re-recording of it. What your guys'
Might
current
have to.
vision is on the songs.
Enemy Inside
Oh wow.
reunion tour. I don't know that I would really want to re-record them, but definitely
Or you
wouldn't
do
have
a
a problem showing
yeah.
some love.
Yeah, you guys could just play around with them in the studio and just say, "Hey, we're not going to record anything."
See, the problem is if we went to re-record them, we would end up rewriting them.
Yeah.
So
Like, but now it would be now we can make that chorus more dope,
no, you can
Just have to let those be what they'll be.
Yeah.
Right.
You could, or you could just play around with just bits and pieces in the studio. Don't re-record it, but just kind of memorize how to play it and just bring that to your live shows. And then,
totally.
We should do like a Enemy Inside 10-year reunion tour where we do like a medley of some of the songs.
there you go. That'd be neat.
There we go. That's a good idea.
That'd be sweet. Now we're cooking up some good stuff.
That way we don't have to waste our set time actually
Dude, let's
playing
just
the
do
whole
that with our
song.
whole set. Be like, we're not going to play any whole song. We're just going to give you guys a medley of Artifice.
It's like a charcuterie plate of Artifice.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome. Let me know if you guys
That's the
do
new
that.
thing. Now that attention spans are down, like
Right.
bands are just going to start
Right.
playing like the hooks, you know?
Yeah, it's just gonna. You got the TikTok brain in the crowd, and it's just like 7 seconds, whatever.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, that cool idea. You could have a little bit like that, just 30 minutes of your show or something. Play around with it.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, so I think we touched on everything. So if you guys have anything else you want to add or want to plug anything that you're doing soon, or
Just say
just
keep streaming the music, keep jamming it, tell your friends. We got some tour dates coming up, some announcements coming up with some other bands for the fall. So just keep an eye out for that stuff.
yeah,
find us on all your social medias.
yeah, I'll have you guys linked in the bio first.
Go check
Yeah.
out our online merch store. We got lots of cool t-shirt designs and
And we got
hats
some
all
new
kinds
shit
of other
coming up
stuff.
soon. Some new shirts coming up soon.
Nice. Yeah, I was checking out your guys' merch store. I really like some of the stuff in there.
Awesome.
Right
next
on,
show,
man.
next show I go to, I'll add to the collection, so I won't have just
Some
one.
of the
That's
stuff
what's
in
up.
the online merch store, some of it you can't find in person. So if you want that, you have to
Really,
do
you
that,
guys? Okay, so I know other
We got
bands do like more.
tour exclusive and merch exclusive. That way, give somebody a little something different.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll have all that linked in the bio, and people can go see what you got.
Awesome,
But
man.
yeah, no, I appreciate you guys being on and taking time to do this.
For having us.
Anytime, dude.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, if you guys like Artifice, like them on here, go check them out on Spotify. There will be linked in the bio. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Peace.
bud. Have a good one.